to VCTV. Happy Friday, everyone, firstly. So I'm very excited to do this weekend episode, I say, or Friday episode of VCTV. It's a special topic. It's about education. It's about e-learning. But today we're going to discuss about the impact on children. When the lockdown happened, the schools got shut down, and schools obviously shut down, hence the kids were at home. How did they cope with that? I would say trauma. Suddenly you have to change your lifestyle. Suddenly you have to be at home with your with your parents all the time, on the gadgets. You don't see your friends. You don't see your teachers. So how did the kids, especially the smaller kids, cope during that period? And we talk about the startups. We have two startups from India and Pakistan representing their EdTech startups. We're going to share their presentation as well to see how they can solve this problem going forward. And we talk about trends, investments that happen in 2020 as well. So before I start the panel today, let me introduce myself. My name is Sonny Mohanty. I'm the Regional Director of LaToken. I'm based here in Singapore. Just to let you know, viewers, today we are live streaming from LinkedIn page as well. Our official LaToken LinkedIn page, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So we have maximum reach and cover in terms of our audience. So that's the beauty besides our website as well. Okay, I'm going to start with some introductions and background of our investor speakers first. First, I have Vandana Tolani joining us again. Hi, Vandana. Happy Friday and welcome back on VCTV.
Hi, Sonny. Thank you so much for inviting me back to this panel. Very happy to be here as usual. Hi, everyone. I'm Vandana Tolani from India. I have 15 years of experience in Jakarta and Singapore, where I had my own family office fund there. This is my 6th year back in India, wherein I did some investments and went back to advisory. We are a global entity. We do deals globally. We are connected with global investors. So in terms of geography, we are global. In terms of sectors, we are agnostic, and we do a typically $1 million to $25 million deals. So happy to be back here, and thanks, Sonny.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vandana. And yes, I'm happy to have you here as well. Next, I have Shreya Gupta. Hi, Shreya. Happy Friday and welcome back on VCTV. How are you today?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Sonny. Thank you for having me. Please don't mind my slight, cold, iterated voice today. I'm glad to be here, and I represent Venture Gurukul, which is a micro VC fund based out of India and New Delhi. To be precise, we are a sector agnostic venture capital fund that is focusing on investing in startups that are digitally transforming everyday life and economy. So for everything from transactions, from education, from health, and especially focus on sustainability and impact, we are looking to invest in all of these startups, an amazing team of entrepreneurs. So everybody out there who's listening to us and wants to get their market fit and strategy here in India or in economies like Middle East and Southeast Asia, you're more than welcome to give us a shout out. And I'm more than happy to take more and more questions and interact with many more other entrepreneurs through your platform. So yeah, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Great insights, great introduction, sorry, Shreya, about there, and lovely to have you back. And don't worry about your voice today. We understand that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Fantastic. Next, I have Kartik. Kartik, hi, Kartik. How are you today?
Hi, good afternoon. It's a holiday for us in the Middle East. And it's episode number 55, Sonny, to be precise.
Yay!
From a coffee shop this afternoon. My name is Kartik, and I sign in from Dubai every day, almost every day on VCTV. I represent a couple of family offices based in the UK and a couple of family venture funds based out of Middle East and primarily Qatar and UAE. Heavily invested in EduTech, FinTech, Health Tech, purely with an intent to democratize and build reach rather than intent to build capital multipliers. Happy to be a part of this show, and this is one of my most research subjects, and I have personal investments in this space in Pakistan as well. So love this space. Thank you.
We know that, Kartik. We know that very well. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hear those great insights coming from you, Kartik. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Gary, good morning. Gary Fowler, welcome back. Happy Friday, Gary. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. I'm really good. It's a great day. I'm gonna go biking today on the Gulf of Mexico. So later on today, I'm gonna take a little bit of time and go biking over there. But anyhow, it's great to be here. My name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've been involved in 17, soon to be 18 startups as a co-founder. I've been involved in 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold for $1.35 billion to Salesforce about 20 months ago. I'm the co-founder of Viva.ai, one of the top AI HR tech companies. I am also the CEO, co-founder, and president of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios. And we are a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Silicon Valley. We curate companies from around the world to go global using our vast network and advisors, contacts. We take operational roles in those companies. And it's great to be here and seeing some of the friendly faces that I've seen many times.
Thank you so much, Gary. And I love the coast, Mexico coast as well. Thank you so much and welcome back on VCTV. Great to have you as always. Okay, so now we have the founders. These 2 founders, and they represent the EdTech startup, and they're both joining us for the very first time. I'm going to start with Zahid. A short intro and background about you, Zahid Imran from Pakistan. Hi, Zahid. Please, a short intro and a background. You're on mute. You're on mute, sorry. You are on mute. We can't hear you. Okay.
I feel like
still on mute.
one of those movies from many years ago, those Chinese movies.
Okay, while you fix your mute button, Ghanshyam Tiwari, welcome to VCTV. Please, a little bit of intro and background about yourself.
Thank you, Sonny. It's great to be on this panel, truly a global panel discussing something which is fundamentally changing in K-12 education and overall education, and has huge ramifications for a country like India as well as global. About me, I'm a semiconductor engineer by training, worked at Texas Instruments and Intel, but had a passion for social sector that motivated me to pursue higher education, went to Bangalore first, then Kellogg School of Management, worked briefly with McKinsey in Atlanta, and then moved to Harvard Kennedy School, did a master's in public administration, and thereafter, between 2010 and 2015, worked with the Chief Minister of Bihar on public policy and leadership. 2015, we founded Good Ed Technologies, a company that stands for Good Educator, with a mission to offer best faculty to students in low-income groups, affordable classes across the country, particularly in India, tier 2, tier 3 cities, using technology. Today, we have nearly 500,000 students who tune to our platform, and we have some exciting success stories to report. Thank you for the opportunity.
Perfect. We're going to hear your presentation later part of the show. Thank you. And welcome on VCTV. Zahid, are we ready now? Can we hear you? A short intro and a background, please.
Yeah, hi. Could everybody listen me? I'm Zahid.
Yes, please. Yeah,
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm Zahid Imran, founder of Innovation Valley from Pakistan. I'm so happy to be part of this community and to share my things from my startup. So happy to see all of you and to share the things about education and EdTech, that how EdTech is going to, transform the education in coming future.
Okay, sure. And welcome back. Welcome on VCTV. So, okay, we all set with the introduction of our speakers and our pitching startups as well. I'm gonna share their startup. So COVID-19 forced millions of parents around the world to educate their children at home. At the start of the pandemic, nearly 80% of parents were educating their child at home. This came alongside a plethora of issues for parents, including a lack of resources such as computers and poor internet connection, as we all know, and a feeling of being overwhelmed with work and family balance. The COVID-19 pandemic presented parents with the new challenges on how best to prepare and support their children for a different school experience. In early days of the pandemic, like last year, 2020, nearly 80% of the parents were educating the child at home. Social distancing and stay-at-home orders disconnected millions of children from in-person education, left little time for parents to prepare, support their children's education at home. As we all have experienced this, we all have children, we have families who have children, we have all seen this, we have all experienced this. Let's start with your insights about this topic. How has it affected children and what has been done so far by the schools, by the authorities, by the government, by the startups to sort of help, find a solution, a better solution for the future of our children. Let's start with Vandana. Over to you, please.
So very good questions, Sony. So the thing is that, of course, pandemic has affected the lives of the children. It's a culture in a school. There is a culture of a school environment where the children go to study, and they have their own, things to do there, meet their own friends, study in a study environment, which was not happening during the pandemic. So, of course, many schools, I have my own two children. My daughter is 16 and my son is 14. They are teenagers, and they also face this lot of challenge first going onto the online school that was happening. Some of the subjects they were unable to understand, even though they were explained very well by the teachers. But it's just that personal touch was not happening. So many kids were not able to understand how to utilize their energies in the right manner. So I encouraged my children to pick up some work to utilize their energies in the right manner. So my daughter started helping a cake company, which had zero revenues with their website, with their Facebook and Instagram posting. And in 3 months, their revenue became 3 times more. So she started picking up this kind of work and utilizing her energies in the right manner. So I think it is very important to keep the children engaged at this time, so that they are not doing unproductive things rather than productive things. Of course, it has affected the kids majorly. They are unable to understand subjects. In many CBSE schools, there are 40 children and 1 teacher, and the teacher also doesn't know to use Zoom properly in India.
Yeah.
And she is also trying to learn, and then kids are trying to play around with Zoom and other stuffs and Microsoft Teams, etc. So of course it has really affected the children, but also EduTech companies have come up with lots of different ideas to engage children, and to have these different kinds of setups wherein their mind will engage more into work and productive stuff than this. So I think kids have really missed out, but on the other hand, there is pros and cons of everything, as you know.
Absolutely, pros and cons, but I think it's going to be a hybrid model. Somebody just wrote it's going to be digital plus physical. Kartik,
Yeah.
over to you, please, with your opening remarks.
I see this as a very interesting opportunity. None of us expected education wouldn't have moved forward in 100 years, but it's moved in 100 days. That's the way I look at it. We have been used to an archaic education culture where teachers would come to school and educate students, and students would learn as a part of a small community. It became a way of living. So with pandemic, not only the students were caught aware, the teaching community was caught aware, the curriculum was caught aware, the evaluation criteria was caught aware, and most importantly, the content was caught unaware. So we today have a huge opportunity, not only in terms of a peer-to-peer platform or an online streaming platform, but we have huge opportunities where startups are coming in content creation, on online evaluation, on online teaching methodology, on preparing teachers to learn and teach online, preparing students to teach online, and build an online community where what kids used to do as a co-curricular activities are now happening co-curricular through social media and through community building. So I would completely agree to the phygital education structure, which is a part physical and a part online, and a fixed and a very clean marriage between the two as we move forward. Maybe kids for 3 to 4 years would struggle considering the transition from one to another. But kids would that just about start education at this point in time would have a completely different exposure to the world and would necessarily miss the age-old school days of going to school in a class of 20, 25 kids and missing periods to make sure that they would have their share of entertainment. So it's a mix of both, is the way I look at it, Sunny. But a huge
Yes, yes,
opportunity,
yes.
massive
Yes.
sunrise.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a mix, mixed of, as you rightly said. And next, I have Shreya, please, with your opening remarks.
So I feel the pandemic, honestly, was the most I think the kids were the most affected, because all of a sudden, from going outside and playing to meeting your friends and going to school, like it's the most part of your day, right? Like at least in India, we spend about like 6.5 hours at school, and that's the major part of your day. And I think because of COVID and the whole lockdown situation, that's what it led to, like children being, being restricted to their homes, and not necessarily do they have like really spacious or airy homes, like, like even for us, we have 4 siblings. And if we were to study together, we would be in one study room together, and one laptop would be here and one would be, across from us. So I think, yes, children were very much affected, and their education had come to a standstill, because there is a very wide, I'd like to say, a very wide gap between accessing education remotely for any one of us. Like when I was growing up in school, like I graduated out of school like 10 years ago, I did not even have one semblance of a digital access of my notes, of my class, or anything. My digital access or my digital exposure came from university. But in India, I think the gap was very, very wide. And now there were certain private schools that were, kind of moving very, very slowly towards having digital classes, removing the traditional, chalkboards and whiteboards, to bringing, monitors in and, telling kids to get access to laptops. But I feel I completely agree with Kartik that what has happened in the last 100 days of COVID lockdown in terms of EdTech and education would have not happened in 100 years. So I think there is a silver lining to COVID-19, that now kids, especially our future generation, who are going to shape the rest of the world and our future, have much more access to digital resources, they actually have borderless education. And I think that is something that they should be making complete and full use of.
Absolutely. It's not only the children and the kids, but also the founders of the startups. It's a great opportunity. Thank you so much, Shreya. Next I have Gary. Over to you, Gary.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is that, let's look at it. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we were right on target earlier with some of the conversations. It's really forced people to go online and look at things differently. So how to get set up, what kind of equipment. I mean, think about it. You either had the equipment or not to be able to get online. Then having the kind of platforms. I mean, the schools weren't set up, at least many of the schools in the US, set up to do online education. I mean, it was primarily in class. So then the challenge is how to enrich those experiences, how to hyper-personalize. How do you keep a 8-year-old entertained? And I know Vandana said she has a 14 and 16-year-old. And Sonny, I don't know how old your daughter is, right? But
yeah.
16. You gotta entertain them. The same. I have my son's 25, finishing his PhD, and my daughter's 21. And I mean, you gotta entertain them, and it can't just be about math and science. You got to make it interesting and gamified, etc. So, the good news is we're at really a dawn of an era. But then we look at some of the values inside a school, like collaboration, the social experiences of being in a school. And of course, we have the challenges today with COVID, although the schools right now, I'm in Palm Beach in Florida, the schools are open, right? So they're not doing as much online education. They're more open. In some cases are hybrid models, but it's been a challenge, and it's at the same time been a blessing, because now things like VR and AR, imagine kids now being able to transcend and to be able to travel into a safari in Africa right from their house.
Yeah.
It's forced. We had political debates before COVID about online instruction. Now the situation is, how can we do it better? How can we do it deeper? And how can we hyper personalize it? So I'm really encouraged, and I hear about it. I hear about the hybrid models all the time. I am a child clinical psychologist too. So as a psychologist and a former MBA professor, I'm a little bit tied into the system, but it's actually it's exciting because the difference now is people are more open to going, just like we are in VCTV, people from all over the world tied in today. We can now transcend borders to get education. I just a few minutes ago, right before we started this episode, got a note on a company called Propel, which is doing online instruction of languages. I mean, there are people from China, Israel, the US, all over teaching languages cross border. I mean, this has changed. The digital transformation has really broken down the borders. So education is everywhere, and the quality of education can dramatically go up. We just have to increase the deepen those experiences.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to ask the investors over here. So obviously, you must be having some portfolios who were into edtech or online e-learning space. So how did they pivot during the pandemic, which is last year, when suddenly, the whole world went into a shutdown, lockdown mode, and the children were at home. But obviously, startups are the ones, and their investors, they probably couldn't just sit on it and just wait for the pandemic to get over, because pandemic is still there and it's going to be still there. We have to, as startups and founders, you have to think about long term. Okay, even though it's a hybrid model, partly now schools in Singapore are open as well. But as Gary rightly said, it's a hybrid model. You have offline and online classes as a mixed education. So what did startups did? How did they pivot? If you can share some examples from your portfolio, or any examples that you can share with the audience of best cases, so we know some examples. Vandana, over to you, please. Vandana, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, Sony. So I'm working with 3 companies in the EduTech space. So this company is, the first one is based out of Delhi, which is working with the youth to prepare them for social, economic, and environmental challenges of the 21st century. And they are presently working with organizations like UNESCO and Indian Army to make the youth future ready. And they also have developed a product that converts your messaging platform into a learning platform. Then I'm working with Ghanshyam Tiwari's company, and this is a K-12 education app that is building specialized online brands for make or break exams in vernacular and all other languages, and offering them at affordable prices. So when Ghanshyam Tiwari ji presents his pitch deck more, you'll understand that better. Okay. And then I'm working with another EduTech company that is building the largest chain of B schools by aggregating MBA colleges in an asset-light model and running a PGDM program in these colleges, which is a OYO for MBA schools.
Yeah.
So in India, there are about 4,000 B schools bearing top 150 to 200 colleges. Most colleges struggle to fill their seats and run into financial losses. So this company is doing that. So yeah. I think EduTech has really hit the market, and investors and promoters, for all of them, it's a good opportunity out there.
Yeah, I really like that way you said the OYO and the Uber of MBA schools. So does that mean it's not only beneficial for the institutions, but also the students, where the fees are going to be lesser?
Yes, of course. They are even getting some jobs through these platforms, and they can pay the fees later. So lots of things have come up for these kind of students as well. Lots of opportunities.
Lots and lots. Thank you so much, Vandana. Next up, we have Kartik, and I'm sure Kartik has a great example to share.
I've got 2 companies that I've invested through my family offices. One was about the bottom of the pyramid. What started with My Tutor was primarily about providing education to kids in UK, augmenting their mathematics, physics, chemistry, and skills through online learning during pandemic. But then we realized that the real reach and the real service lies at the bottom of the pyramid, which is typically subcontinent India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Africa. And we took the business down to $2 an hour from a $12 an hour education. And today we are very happy to say that we have 700,000 plus students enrolled on more than 24 sessions with us, with continuous business going all the way up to August, September 2021. While the schools would start opening between January, February, we have business already lined up till August, September. And now we are actively engaging with educational bodies and educational institutions in different parts of India, Pakistan, and in certain parts of Africa to make sure that this becomes a part of a curriculum learning. So that's one investment. Started at around 800,000, has gone into 1.7, 1.8 million. We're gearing up for another 4.5, 5 million investment. The other investment is in primary kids learning or Montessori and school learning. The biggest affected parties in this is your preschooling and pre-KG kids who are used to being taught and who need to be imbibed a particular way of education. Curating content for them online, curating fundamentals of numbers, colors, sizes, shapes, identifying animals, identifying birds, and beginning their education was the biggest challenge. We partnered with, or rather, we invested in a startup in India with a base root in Bangladesh. Reached up to Series B. We've created almost 12,000 hours of content, which is being now sold to different parts of the world in different curriculums. And we see that we would be partnering with schools as we grow the business, which is where I see a very strong phygital association. Another startup that we are incubating, and then there's this, it's still on the drawing board, is about online evaluation, which means while students are getting the education, students have access to tutors, the evaluation seems to be the biggest challenge. So OMRs, online content readers, online testing platforms, online preschooling and schooling KPI or schooling learning progress matrices is what we are working on. We're working with CBSE in India and we're working with ICSC, two boards, to see if we can put a structure to this. If this works out, we would take it to the entire subcontinent. But these are the 3 startups, out of which 2 are live and 1 is on the drawing board.
I'm extremely excited to hear that. At the same time, I feel I missed out when I was in India doing CBSE education. Okay, thank you, Kartik, so much. Next up, Shreya. Shreya, let's talk about some benefits of technology. How can blockchain technology, because we know blockchain is one source of truth, and AI technology, how can they help with democratizing education? Because education, I believe, for me, has to be free and accessible to the entire masses, be it a child in a rural village in India or in Africa or in Silicon Valley. They should have equal rights to education. So just want to know your thoughts about how technology can help achieve that.
So I think AI has a really big role to play in education. Like as Kartik just mentioned, something like evaluating an assessment. So in fact, even we during COVID, we were not incubating really, but we did have an engagement with one of these startups that were trying to develop a technology that can do natural handwriting learning using AI and computer vision. And that is something that is really important, because yes, all of these EdTech platforms can give you multimedia online classes, but being able to engage that student and being able to figure out that whether that education has actually worked out, or that whether the assessment has happened correctly, is very important. So I feel AI and machine learning and computer vision is something that can be leveraged to figure out the engagement levels of students. Because yeah, you can put out thousands and thousands of videos, of 5-minute videos of doubts solving questions, but is the student actually spending more than 90 seconds on that particular actively? And that is something that is a very major concern. At least when I am looking at edtech startups, I really not look at just what traction they have and what footfall they have or what signups they have. I actually want to know what kind of content is engaging a student. So I feel AI and being able to use technology and a deep tech like AI in figuring out and in engaging the content, being able to make that content more interactive and maybe gamifying it in such a way that it goes more difficult, or it kind of adapts to how a student is answering. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of technology I am personally looking at, because I think that is the digital transformation that is anticipated in the next coming years. And when it comes to technology giving access to all parts of the world, especially rural parts of India and underdeveloped parts of the world, I feel education should not be limited by technology. And I feel everywhere you can give access. Like I am personally, if I could, I would fund startups that are digitizing major content. Like I am interested in startups that do digitizing of books rather than digitizing online classes and tutorials. So that is something that I look at, and I feel that will kind of take content, reading, education, and vocation across borders and across geographies.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shreya. I totally agree. I wish I could have access to those startups. I can fund them, even though I'm not an investor, though.
You can try.
Sure, with your help, maybe. Thank you so much, Shreya. Gary, over to you with because obviously we know technology has a lot of benefit. And how did some of your portfolios, if you could share some examples of successful pivots during the pandemic? Schools are now open. I think it's a mix of physical and online education. But when the pandemic hit last year, and suddenly everybody had to pivot, the parents, children, and the startups. So any successful pivots that you can share?
Yeah, I can go down through that, but I want to add one part on the AI because it's AI has a tremendous impact. But I want to drill down a little bit to one area that's incredibly interesting. So when I talk about hyper personalizing education, to be able to understand what a student knows or does not know, so you can really build an exact program for that student. And that actually is called knowledge space theory, and allows you to be able to take into account what the student knows, what the student doesn't know, and to be able to stimulate their activities. And some of the things we talked about here is how do we keep the student engaged. So in terms of our portfolio companies, what we look for today, the companies that have really transitioned have really embraced the online education, have embraced these models. We have a company called Skill Cup, which is a training solution. Now imagine not only using your desktop, but of course kids use their phones all the time, right? So having that same kind of knowledge space theory involved to be able to educate on the phone. The other thing is, think about it, tutoring. What happens in math and scientists? Having a tool like Skill Cup to be able to go down through and actually use your mobile phone to be able to educate. And guess what? Kids have it in their hands all the time. It's much easier to get them to use that than actually to sit down at a desk, right? Because they want to lay back, they're fidgeting around, they want to be on a couch or a chair or on the grass or wherever. So that's what, so Skill Cup really went from really looking at dealing with corporate customers to really a wider audience, to dealing with the desktop to going down to the mobile. And I think, so this is, it's really, think about all the implications. We talked about AI, what AI can do, these specialized programs, the ability to instantly assess that particular student, to be able to grade, to be able to as I said, AR and VR. So the child could be on their phone or on or have a headset on, and to be able to travel to the darkest parts of Africa, to be on a safari, to be able to look at lions right in front of them, to be able to go down and watch animals feeding. So those or to go in space. So those kind of enriching experience are going to happen more and more and more. But another thing, a concept that I've recently come up with is using AI, not smart, but intelligence assistants, to be able to basically have an online tutor for you all the time in all kinds of different areas. So that intelligent assistant, I actually want to develop it. So it's one of my own personal passions, but that's where we're going with it. And what it's going to do is dramatically increase the probability that that student's going to be able to learn, because you're going to be able to tailor it so they're visual, if they're visually oriented with objects, right? If they really need to be able, they like text, you can use text. You tailor the program for that student.
Yeah, sure. Great. Personalization. We talked about it yesterday on the health tech panel, and also today. It's very important.
It's across multiple vertical markets. That's where the situation is.
Yeah.
Because if you start to drill down, it's about accessing the data very, very quick. Is it just me, or is Zahid just fall down? I feel like I'm drinking in the morning.
That's about Zoom. Okay.
I thought maybe it's just me, and I'm starting to go like this all of a sudden. So, yeah,
Great.
so it's the hyper-personalization. A lot of these concepts, I wrote an article called Transportable AI Models. What's happening is it's going across multiple vertical markets, and education, of course, is right on par because people are really focused on it right now. But these models are going to be used in all kinds of different ways. Hyper-personalization is critical across the board. You know, it doesn't matter if it's health tech, manufacturing, et cetera. You need to have some, you're going to have a situation where you have almost like a companion that's AI with you all the time. That intelligent assistant will be like your guardian angel.
Absolutely. That's the right point. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you, speakers, panel speakers. Now we have Zahid, who is going to present his startup. Zahid, you are ready. So don't worry if your presentation doesn't show up due to some technical glitches. All the investor speakers do have a copy of your presentation, just to giving you a heads up. 8 minutes. Please keep it high level and focus on the key points. Over to you, please, Zahid.
Thank you, Sonny. Yes, I'm ready and I can share my screen. Thank you so much. Are you people are listening me?
Yeah, we're listening to you. Can you share your presentation?
Yeah, exactly. So here is my presentation, and welcome to Innovation Valley. Actually, it's an idea is the Airbnb of education. The problem we want to solve is the major problem is right now. The problem is that all the education institutes are closed. So the first problem we want to solve is that we want to make education possible for everyone, who is sitting at the home without education because of the closure of the schools due to the COVID. The first problem we want to solve is. The second is skill and knowledge gap, because though the children are going to school, individuals are going to college and universities, but they don't have job skills, they don't have business skills. And the third problem we want to solve is price. The cost of education is very high, especially when we talk about college and university education. The third problem we want to solve is of the teachers, professionals, and industry experts. I mean, they're working, but still they need to increase their income. So our platform will give them opportunity to increase their income. The fourth problem we want to solve is, in fact, the fifth problem is distance. The parents and students, they need, they have to travel a lot to reach the college, university, or school. And the time problem, some of the professionals and the people who are doing the job, but they still want to reskill and upskill themselves. They need to join some kind of platform to upskill or reskill themselves, but the time doesn't match. They are doing the job. So we want to solve this problem too. And the seventh problem we want to solve is insecurities. In the especially in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the harassment kind of problems, the culture, particularly, parents don't want to send their girls to the schools, college, and universities. So we want to solve this problem too. And the eighth problem we want to solve is ineffective, boring, outdated curriculum. The study and learning is no more fun. Actually, students and individuals, they get bored. So, and the last is we want to solve the problem is that teachers are not trained to handle the digital natives. The 21st century kids, they get bored by reading the books and by cramming everything. So how we are going to resolve all these problems? The solution is the hybrid education model. Hybrid education model is the solution of all these problems. How it will work, let me show you. So we are building so here is the screen of our website. Student, anybody that want to learn something, that will type here in the search bar, and then he will select from this button online or on campus. So this model is just like the Airbnb. So if he or she wants to learn online or offline, as he or she will click here on this button, this will show him a location search section. He or she will just type the location, and he will connect to the nearest instructor that will be teaching to him or her, or he will be connecting to the nearby institution that is available on that particular time. So this is the solution we have for all those problems, and our platform will have online classes, interactive two-way methodology, question answer sessions. Later on, all the lectures and all the interactions will be available in the form of recorded lectures. We will be giving them projects, assignments. This is the solution that we are building to solve the education problem.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. You want to share something else, Zahid? Or are we done?
Yeah, I'm done. And if any question, I can answer.
Okay. We take the presentation of Mr. Dancham, and then after that we take the questions. Can you please stop the presentation?
Sure.
Okay. Gyansham, you can start presentation, and people please put yourself on mute, those who are not talking nor speaking. Yeah, you can start your presentation, please. Then we take the questions of both the startups together.
Sure. Thank you so much once again for an excellent and enriching discussion about a variety of perspectives on education. Sitting here in India, the country that has the largest number of student base anywhere in the world. In any year, we have at least 3 crore or 30 million students that are in various classes. We as a company, I'll just share the screen and start speaking a little bit about what we do. We as a company is named GoodEd. The name stands for Good Educator. And the idea is to enable students, particularly those in Tier 2 India, access best teachers for programs where they can succeed and build, become role models for their community. As a company, we build online prep schools for students who aspire to pursue top undergraduate programs in India and abroad. And when we say a prep school is basically a dedicated academy, online or offline, that offers courses for students focused towards success in highly competitive selection process. If I look at the high school segment in India, there are roughly 60 million students. These numbers can change from year to year, but this gives you a gist of what exists. Out of that, roughly 3 million students prepare through various test prep programs for top career pathways. The career pathways itself may exist in ways that a student can join a college for becoming a doctor, join a college to become an engineer, look at study abroad as a career option, look at coding pathways to take those options, or look at other pathways where a higher aspiration or realization of a higher aspiration is guaranteed. We build prep schools that enable the students to trust the faculty, the content, the model of learning, such that they succeed in this highly competitive admission process. In terms of where we are headed as a company, we run a platform called NEET Prep. It's an exam that students write to become doctors. In India, roughly 1.6 million students write this exam. And we are a market leader in the NEET Prep segment. We have students across 600 districts in India. To give you a sense, 1 in 40 students who's entering any medical college in India this year is a NEET Prep student. So we have taken a pole position in that market, and I'll explain more about what we do in Need Prep. But what we see in Need Prep is a model that can replicate to various other pathways, such as engineering, coding, study abroad, and eventually leading to a online school that focuses exclusively on higher aspirations from high school students who want to join top colleges, which can be global aspirations as well. I'll skip some of these parts because this is live, and I'll skip the details of the financial performance of the company. But in terms of what we have seen as a model is that to build any online program, and especially when the program is a make or break program for the student from the career standpoint, there are multiple things that come together. You need top faculty and content. You need a branding and marketing that makes the student trust the overall program, because the student is betting his or her career on the program. You need a efficient, cost efficient, and scalable acquisition and sales engine. And finally, you need technology that can deliver to the student based on their learning needs. The technology will continuously evolve. We have not over designed our technology, but our technology has continuously evolved and is going in the direction that people on the panel spoke about using adaptive learning, personalized learning, and making the whole learning process efficient and engaging for the student. In terms of how we position ourselves, we see that when you go towards a pathway focused approach, you think about building aspirational brands. We see that in India, the K-12 market is populated by major brands, but a lot of those brands are generic brands. They don't focus on one particular aspiration. We believe that in make or break exams, if you focus on one particular aspiration, you will create specialized brands that will answer to the student success. Um, we this is our team. Kapil Gupta leads the company. He is IIT Delhi alumnus, top engineering school in India, and MBA from USC Marshall School of Business. Has deep expertise in operations. Has executed over $2 billion of project. Jayaprakash is also my co-founder. He is from IIT Bombay Computer Science and a top management institute called IIM Ahmedabad, and has worked at Yahoo and Goldman Sachs. As well as I have had an adventurous career in different dimensions, ranging from semiconductor engineering, as I spoke earlier, all the way to consulting and public policy, and have been fortunate to study at several top colleges. What combines us as a team is the fact that each of us came from low-income families, and education became the passport of who we became in our professional careers. And we believe that this is possible if you provide programs to students that turn their talent and hard work into successful careers through the colleges that they join. In terms of what we offer and the NEET prep model, I want to speak particularly about this model, which is unique to NEET prep. As I said, NEET is an exam that is taken by grade 12 students in India. Roughly 1.6 million students took the exam this year, who have a major in biology. And these are the students who want to join medical colleges and dental colleges in the undergrad program. We offer NEET program as a 1-year course and a 2-year course, which is offered entirely online. The program is marketed online through YouTube and various other digital platforms, is sold online. People go and buy on the NEET Prep website, and eventually delivered online. People go and consume the content on app, on website. And what we have seen is that trust is the most important asset as you build this a make or break program for so many students at scale. We have become one of the most trusted voice in the segment. We lead by information, address the unstated needs of the students, such as should the students prepare, how should they allay their fears, how should they discipline themselves in a online learning module. We have focused on building strong tribes, which is called it student communities and cohorts on various third-party platforms such as Telegram, WhatsApp, and more. And we also provide products that fulfill a lot of stated needs of the student, be it test series, be it revision platforms, which is what technology can provide, and master classes. In terms of impact, I want to quickly shift to a video that I want to share, if it is okay. Give me one second.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. lost the presentation, I guess.
Yes, I'm sharing a short video.
Okay.
I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the sound. The sound may not be great. What you see is a video by Kapil, who's my co-founder and the CEO of the company, and he is speaking about one of the students who succeeded. And I want you to think about the journey of this student and whether this kind of success is possible more or less in the new EdTech environment. Here is the this is the student. You may not follow her language. You may not follow her language, but I just want
Right.
you to follow a little bit of what she's trying to speak, and I'll explain in a bit.
I don't hear anything. This is Gary. I don't hear a thing. Is there
Okay.
something?
Fine. So maybe there is a problem with playing the YouTube video on this platform, but that is fine. I'll explain to you as a focus on this student. The name of the student is Shreya Ahmed. She started her preparation. She graduated from grade 12 in 2016. Started her preparation for the NEET exam, which is highly competitive. The 99th percentile student makes it to become a doctor in India. She started her preparation in 2016, did not qualify, did not score enough. And for the next 3 years, she continued to prepare. She joined an undergrad program in biology, but continued to prepare for this test prep. And eventually in the fifth year, she qualified at above 99, fourth year, above 99 percentile. In this 4 years, she not only educated herself in biology undergrad, she also took tuitions to support her education, and her tuitions were able to support her education because there were platforms such as NEET Prep. She's our student, so there's a platform like NEET Prep that was easily available, accessible, and affordable. What I want to communicate from this video is, or this person is, that there are students like this who maybe in their small town pocket may not be facilitated by the physical coaching infrastructure. But when they find EdTech, they find something that reaches them, they find something that can help them realize their dream, they are ready to go that extra mile and demonstrate the power of their hunger to succeed and eventually succeed. So girls like Fareha become role models for millions of kids out there who want to prepare for these exams that guarantee a passport for a very bright career. And this is the kind of stories that NEET Prep and Good Ed, my company, cheers and wants to focus more on, that how can we really make every such girl in every pocket of the country successful at the price that they can afford, in the language that they better understand, and build on their determination to succeed. So with that, I'll stop. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ghanshyam. You can we can have the link maybe after this, after VCTV hour. We can all have that YouTube link. Thank you so much for that presentation. Let's take some questions from the judges and the speakers. Zahid, probably I didn't catch a revenue model, but again, I just opening the floor for the speakers to ask questions to Zahid first.
Yeah, sure.
Zahid, what's your financial proposition? What's the kind of ticket that you're looking for, and what's in it for an investor? I am actively involved in this space, and I'm very keen to be associated with this. So I need to have an understanding of your financials. What are you seeking? And if I want to exit in 4 years, how will you let me exit, at what valuations? This sounds very exciting to me, and your earnesty sounds very exciting to me. So I'm happy to throw my hat in the ring for this.
Yeah, sure. Basically, the model is very simple. The revenue that we will be generating. Are you getting me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. So the revenue that we will be generating from every ticket, 75% will go to the instructor, the educator or teacher or professional, whatever is teaching. And 25% will go to our platform Innovation Valley. So this is our financial model. And so far we have created almost 800,000 Pakistani rupees, and we have created certain traction, and people from 60 countries are visiting our website, and so this is our financial model basically. And the major thing I'm looking funding for is the product development and tech talent hiring. So I'm looking for around zero point 0.5 million to 1 million USD on the equity of around 5 to 10%. It's debatable.
Right.
Interesting.
Kartik?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds interesting. I had a similar conversation with another partner in the morning, where equity
Okay.
dilution is not something that at the moment I would rather comment on. But I would love to know a little more on the financials. So Zahid, let's connect offline as and when we are done with the show. Sonny would be helpful
Yeah,
in patching us through and taking this forward from there.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I just want to one more thing I just want to share. Could I?
Sure,
Yes,
go ahead.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just one thing is that everything I have, all the documents are prepared. The idea is, globally scalable, the Airbnb of education. I'm working on this idea for last 3 to 4 years. So let's discuss the things offline. Yes.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, Gary, Vandana, Shreya?
So can I
Go
put the
ahead.
question to GT? I mean, Ghansham Tiwari.
Sure.
Yeah. Mr. Ghansham, could you share the YouTube link on the chat and also tell all of us that what is the kind of fundraise that you're looking at and the usage of fund?
Yes, definitely. So we are currently serving nearly 500,000 students who prepare for the NEET exam with us. Of that, nearly 70,000 students are enrolled in various paid programs ranging from $10 to instant use programs to $200 to $300 in 1 year and 2 year programs. We want to replicate this model into other career pathways, which require a preparation during high school to enter the college. As a result, the funds that we are raising, roughly around $8 million, would go towards launching these new programs. The funds will also go towards opening new language markets within the NEET segment. India is vernacular primarily, and there are courses in NEET that we can create in Tamil, Telugu, and various other languages that will benefit the small town students in those states. And because the brand has gotten a lot of strength, we believe that students will take to the platform to benefit from it. Finally, another use of the funds is what Gary was talking about, to transform the technology platform we have to be much more efficient and smart and adaptive and personalized for the student.
Right. Thank you so much, Vandana, and thank you so much, Ghansham. Gary, any
So
questions for Go
I
ahead.
have
Sorry.
one question for Ghansham. Ghansham, yours, especially your NEET preparation business, is a very short lead term revenue stream, which means the returning user business would be very limited. How do you ensure that you would continue to have a sustainable user base or grow your user base? Because at some point in time, you would reach a particular threshold beyond which you can't drive returns on this business. So how do you want to manage your user base and your revenue stream going forward?
So we aspire to be a top online school focused on high aspirations of more determined high school students. And in that, the way to focus on that segment is to have multiple programs depending on the student's interest. In each of these programs, because the selection rate is so low, students typically prepare for more than once. For example, NEET, on an average, student prepares at least twice, and affordable programs allows the student to repeat that. Second, the way we look at high school education particularly, and the edtech space, but overall, is that there is an ocean of content that will become more and more freely available, or available at a very low cost. And there will be certain islands of monetization where students will be willing to pay in tangible outcomes that the program is providing to them. In early education, it could be music, English, many other things. in high school education, it's likely to be career pathways that take the student to a certain specific destination. So we are building something called learner.in, which is going to be a free or very low cost platform for all content, general purpose content in grade 9 to 12. And on top of it, there will be programs like NEET Prep, IIT JEE Prep, on coding for high school students, as well as study abroad. And while the student may not return for the same test prep again, chances are that a new batch of student will join and further take up the brand that is building up. Finally, at a certain point, because we are focusing on high aspiration students, there will be exit programs that can be offered to these students depending on how the college education changes. It's quite possible that college education, which is currently a monolithic 4-year offline program, will become a much more unbundled online and offline program. And the new education policy in India also pushes something in that direction. So it is also possible that in future we will be able to enable these students to take specific programs in higher education. Our core territory is age 14 to 21. But to be able to get there, we want to be the best aspirational platform for students between age 14 to 18 who are in high school.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kartik. Gary, any questions from you, please?
Yeah, so can you go down through and tell me, Jansham, what you have in terms of revenue? What is it now? What's your ARR today?
So today, this year, we will close the revenue at around $2 million with a profitability of between 20 to 25%. We are an angel funded company. We've raised only $450,000 so far. That was in 2016-17. And including...
Wait a minute, go through that. Tell me that one more time. What was it?
$450,000 is
last
what we
year,
raised.
yeah?
In 2017. That was the last time when we raised capital. Since then, 2018 onwards, we have been profitable, and we are funded by the customer revenues. In addition, the current year, when our products have matured, our student base has swelled 10 times. But we have also diversified our product offering from just a $200 offering or high cost offering to a $10 to $200 offering. So as a result, while the student base has gone up 10 times from 8,000 to roughly 80,000 over a year, our revenues have swelled nearly 2 times or over 1.8 times from $1.2 million last year to likely to be $2 million this year.
All right, sounds great. Now that's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Anybody, any questions for Zahid? Otherwise, we take some closing remarks. It's a Friday. Thank you so much for sharing all those insights and sharing your startups. I'm very excited that Kartik is interested to talk to Zahid and Ghanshyam both. Any questions from anyone? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Ghanshyam and Zahid, for sharing this presentation. Great ideas, great product, I can see. Shreya, closing remarks for the show before we end the show today and start our weekend over here. Singapore, obviously, it's 9 p.m. now.
I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here today. And it was really nice to see both the pitches. And I think what Ghanshyam and Zahid are doing in their respective countries and fields is amazing. I think and since he was linking a YouTube video to one of his female students, I really applaud the fact that, yes, you're looking to empower girls. And since both India and Pakistan do struggle with empowering women education, so it's really nice that both of you entrepreneurs do recognize that struggle of ours. And thank you so much. And I would like to connect with you guys offline for sure. And thank you for having me.
Great. I'm going to help you connect. Thank you, Shreya. Vandana, please, closing remarks from you, please.
Sonny, so thank you for having me here over and over again, and lots of gratitude to you and your team for organizing this and connecting the dots all around the world and creating a better ecosystem. And thank you to both the startups for presenting their pitch so well. to Mr. Zahid and Ghanshyam Tiwari, and looking forward to get more EduTech startups and help them get funded through these platforms. So all the audience, do join LaToken TV and watch us as much as possible.
Yay! Thank you so much, Vandana. Lovely. Kartik, your closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Sonny. I think what you did was to get two pitches on the platform, and that was exactly what was required at this point to get startups coming in and make sure that people exchange ideas and business opportunities on the platform. And I'm happy to, like I said, happy to invest and happy to co-work with Zaid on building this ecosystem for him. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Zahid. Thank you so much, Kartik. Before I come to Gary, I just want to quickly speak with Zahid and Ghanshyam. Zahid, what was your experience today and your feedback?
Sorry, trust me, I'm so excited. And being the educator and technologist and entrepreneur, trust me, I'm so crazy and bullish on this idea. And I believe in myself in this idea and the team I'm building and platform, that this idea, the Airbnb of education, has potential to resolve the education issues around the globe, not just one country, but around the globe. So I'm so excited, I'm so happy that you people are connecting the entrepreneurs to the right platforms, to invest in the ecosystem. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. About the future things with LaToken. And I request to everybody, every entrepreneur in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, across the globe, that please stay tuned with LaToken and watch it. And, be problem solver and real entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you, Zahid. That was great words coming from you. Over to you, Ghanshyam.
Thank you, Sonny, for offering a truly global platform. And it is great to see themes of education resonate with the idea that the most the ones who most need it must be empowered the best. And that is what Zahid is doing through his innovation and through his business model. And that's what we seek to do through education. To what Shreya said, we are trying to build something called Dr. Beti, which is our social mission that focuses on girls who prepare for the NEET exam. 57% of applicants in NEET exam are girls. So looking at how we can enable those applicants to succeed more and join healthcare as a career, whether as a doctor or some other aspect of healthcare. Right. So as companies, we take missions that enable companies to grow further, but also establish a strong social purpose to what we are doing. Thank you so much for offering this global platform. It is great to be able to present in front of Gary, in front of Kartik, and in front of the entire team here.
Thank you, Ghanshyam, and really nice, great ideas about Dr. Beti. Very nice thought as well. Thank you so much for sharing those feedback with us. Gary, over to you. How was the session today, and what's the closing remarks from you?
Well, they're always great. I mean, I enjoy them or I wouldn't come. I'm excited about education. I can tell you, my own experiences with my kids at 2.5 years old. I put them in a group called Kumon, which is a Japanese style education. And my kids went from, so 2.5, I put them in. By 5 years old, they were both reading and doing math. I think my daughter was like 5 years, 6 years ahead, and my son was 3 or 4. But it changed their entire lives. They both got in gifted programs. My son's finishing his PhD in clinical psychology now, and it changed everything. So education is fundamentally important. And the encouraging, incredible thing is that being able to do a cross-border from anywhere to anywhere to be able to help us hyper-personalize the programs to get the most out of it and to keep the children entertained is incredibly important. So I applaud you. And of course, I'd love VCTV or I wouldn't be here. And great to see my friends develop quite a family of VCTV compadres here, and I enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, all of you. So it brings us to the end of the show. Again, startups and entrepreneurs who are watching us today, feel free to reach out to us and make connections with the investors, and they are keen to look at your project. Again, other speakers and investors, if you're interested to share the space with other investors and speakers like Vandana, Kartik, Gary, please, and Shreya, please reach out to us. I mean, this is the platform to make the right connections and the collaborations. Having said that, this is a weekend. Happy Friday, happy weekend. Have a great weekend. I'm going to be back next week, Monday. Again with new topic, new set of speakers. Till then, stay safe, take care.